Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So today's upload is going to be a video about the snowstorm, or potential for next week. It has risen, and things are looking extremely active for next week, so things are starting to get very exciting across the country into around the Halloween time frame. And it's weird to be talking about a snowstorm on Halloween, but it's definitely not unheard of. We've definitely seen storms across the Halloween time, especially across the northern U.S. However, this system will be pretty giant, and it's the battle of the models, if you will. I mean, the European model is showing a very, very well-defined system, or two actually right now, two snowstorms, basically going over the same locations. Yesterday was showing a little bit different tracks, but it's still showing two storms, but now it's a little bit of difference in track. However, the GFS is only really showing one smaller system. So yes, in a sense, it is the battle of the models. If you want to, if you like these videos, if you like this channel, if you like weather, we do all sorts of related content, weather-related content. Consider subscribing to this channel. Consider liking this video, and it really means a lot. And let's just get right into this. So, looking at the European model, we see that there's as a snow like I forecasted. I never really talked about it formally. I never titled a video about it, but remember I said that the European and the GFS were both agreeing on a panhandle of Texas seeing snow, and the National Weather Service, whatever they're doing, they're like, yeah, maybe just half an inch of snow, maybe up to an inch. Well, many locations got well over 6, and now they're seeing 7. Sorry about that, voice crack. 7 inches of snow, and yeah, that's just the National Weather Service for you sometimes. But basically, this same system kind of stalls out at powerful cold front, stalls out across the Gulf Coast region, and then this system just blasts to the north as tropical moisture just gets absolutely lifted up to the north. And notice how some pretty decent heavy rain is associated with this thing, and you can see there's quite a bit of precip among this. Right there, this is through the weekend, Sunday, Saturday, so quite a bit of rain expected across the country. Not really any snow with this at all, mainly rain, so nothing too major. However, this is where things start getting interesting. We're now into the Monday time frame, and look, the European with the strong cold front has a very strong cold front right there, well-defined air blast, and it has basically developing a area of snow, a pretty heavy snow moderate snow across Iowa and into Wisconsin, and then that lifts to the north, not really turning into a giant system at all. Still very significant. Then we have a larger system developed towards the end part of the week, Wednesday, Thursday. Notice some lighter snow across Iowa, and doesn't really start intensifying. Sorry about that. There's one that didn't work. And I guess over this slide that doesn't want to show, it really intensifies. You can see a pretty big snowstorm erupt out of it, and it drops even more snow for the upper Midwest. So that is very interesting. And if we were to go to the let's go to the total snowfall, and we will see some pretty hefty amounts. Look at that. They go over the same location twice the snowstorm, so many locations across Wisconsin and Iowa will be seeing up to a foot and a half of snow. This comes true. And again, it's looking more and more likely that this system will set itself up and actually occur. Now, if you're wondering what the GFS is showing, I'll show you in just a minute. But notice also how there could be even more snow for the foothills of Colorado, 14, 18, 10, 12 inches. Not even the foothills, just the mountains. Very, very snowy forecast for Colorado, while the upper Midwest seeing, or not even the upper, just the Midwest, really, the heart of the Midwest getting quite a bit of snow as well. Now the GFS is doing a little bit of its own act. Now this is at hour 384, so this is not really the snowstorm we're talking about. Notice how it also shows that snow across Amarillo, Texas, quite a bit of it, in fact. And if we were to go forward into this, it also shows that pretty hefty rains moving up to the north through Saturday, and this would be late Saturday evening and into Sunday, and you can see quite a bit of rain would be associated with this. So rain is definitely on its way for the Midwest, and that it drops a lot of rain. This thing's gonna be a big rainmaker. And notice how it develops yet another little system that drops snow across Colorado. It's a little, but it's a hefty one. It drops quite a bit of snow. It's kind of at the base of the jet stream, and it moves a little bit to the east. It nudges a little bit to the east, and it just sends off. And you can see the GFS doesn't really. This is like the first system that the European was showing. And you can see it has it further to the east across Illinois, Michigan. Cities like Chicago, Milwaukee, Grand Rapids, the Quad Cities, seeing some snow out of this. But then notice how it doesn't form that second system at all. It doesn't even have it. Just has a different pattern completely. So the GFS is now showing a system, which at the beginning it wasn't at all, but the European is now showing two. So this is at the very end of the long range. You can see it's showing the system. But whether or not that comes true, you'll have to wait and see. But these two systems are our main concern right now. But in terms of the conditions for the cold, there's the clock, by the way. It's going off. But you can see that in the 8 to 14 outlook, it definitely shows enough cold if a system wanted to develop in that time frame. Now, this is going to be occurring a little bit before. It's going to be occurring around the Halloween time frame. You can see plenty of cold is going to be the big story as well. I mean, just a lot of cold. It's going to be so cold, guys. Let me show you some of these modeling. The GFS and European are in fair agreement about the temperatures. They're just not too agreed about the system. And notice that the GFS is advertising at the very end, and maybe a little bit bigger, warm up across the country, even getting some 60s in November, which would be nice. But this is what it's showing across the country right now, and you can see that. Okay, let's wait for this to load. Some patchy frost through this week. Pretty chilly conditions, definitely. We see that rising, that big system with the rain right across a good portion of Illinois and Michigan. So that's definitely, definitely gonna happen. But it's gonna warm things up a little bit as it brings tropical moisture into the U.S. further up north. But then look what happens behind these systems. Whether or not they form, this cold air is coming. The European just has a impulse or a pulse in the atmosphere that kind of sets off a trigger, and that really just compiles or forms a big system too. In fact, but look at some of these temperatures reaching into the mid-south and mid-central Arkansas into Oklahoma. Very chilly. This is obviously during the night, or during the morning hours. But then look at this one. I mean, this one gets very far to the south, almost into northern Alabama, Georgia, and Mississippi. And then things start letting up. But notice also what this is. Some of you may be wondering, why is it just all of a sudden really cold here? This is called, I don't really know the exact name for it, but some people call it like the Appalachian Mountain effect, something like that. And basically, let's see if I can move this a little bit more. Basically, what this is a high pressure is right here that's associated with the storm, and it's spinning clockwise like all high pressures do, and it's probably a little bit further to the east. But basically, what it does, it just sends a lot of its cold air down into the kind of like the southeast, and not really spreading into these locations because of the Appalachian Mountains that are across these areas. Now this one has it a little bit further to these, but usually it kind of just taps the reservoir up here and just sends a lot of that cold air down here, and that could really produce a lot of more chillier temperatures than normally would be without the mountains for a good portion of the southeast. So that's just something interesting I wanted to point out. And if you were to look further into the time frame, again, the GFS is showing a little bit more of a warming pattern. But then look what's coming up here. Potentially very, very, very chilly conditions after that system. But we'll see what happens. Definitely a moderation after this pattern would be expected, as the place, how cold. Just looking at how cold it will be, it really can't get much colder for October, and obviously it can. But looking at a reasonable forecast, it's not going to get much colder than what we're looking at right here. If you look at some of the temperature anomalies, they're significant, and you can see they're in the pinks, the whites almost right there by Nebraska. You can see just like negative 20 degrees or negative 20 Celsius, so even more in Fahrenheit. Very, very impressive. and towards the end you can see that there would be chilly up here, but not as chilly down here, pretty warm. So that'd be interesting to see what happens in November. But overall, things are looking very exciting and very. And now basically that's it for today's video, guys. I just wanted to go over that snowstorm potential. I'm not going to go really talk much more about it. I mean, yeah, the snowfall chances are there, and you know, I'll be updating you guys probably every day on this. Definitely around, you know, a chance for a pretty significant system is growing, increasing. And I would describe this video as kind of discussing the battle of the models. The GFS is showing a non-stormy solution, the European is showing a stormier solution, but both are showing cold air, and that's the important factor. So thank you guys so much for watching. Consider liking this video, consider subscribing to this channel, and I'll catch you all guys on the next episode. Thanks for watching. See ya. Bye.